Do you ever catch yourself reaching for your phone without even realizing it? Have you noticed how difficult it's become to finish a task without checking email, scrolling social media, or opening another tab? Do you wonder what life could look like if your brain was trained to resist distraction and focus deeply again? Distraction is no longer just an occasional annoyance. It's the default state of the modern world. Every app, platform, and device you use has been carefully engineered to hijack your attention, to keep you scrolling, clicking, and consuming. The average person now checks their phone hundreds of times a day, spends hours bouncing between notifications, and rarely experiences the satisfaction of uninterrupted focus. This is not because we are lazy or weak. It's because the digital environment has been designed to exploit our psychology. But here's the good news. Just as your brain can be trained into distraction, it can also be trained back into focus. By adopting proven habits, you can rewire your mind, reclaim your attention, and create the kind of deep concentration that leads to productivity, creativity, and peace. To understand how to train your brain away from distraction, we need to start with the science of attention. Neuroscience shows that the brain has a limited capacity for focus at any given moment. Each time you switch tasks, say from writing a report to checking a message, you pay a cost known as attention residue. Part of your mind stays stuck on the previous task, even as you move on to the next. This residue builds up, scattering your energy and reducing efficiency. Over time, constant switching literally rewires your brain to favor shallow, fragmented attention. But the reverse is also true. Practicing focus strengthens the neural pathways of concentration. Like a muscle, attention grows stronger the more you use it. So what are the habits that help rebuild this muscle? One of the most effective is the practice of single tasking. It may sound obvious, but in a culture that glorifies multitasking, focusing on one thing at a time has become radical. Research consistently shows that multitasking reduces performance and increases errors, while single tasking enhances accuracy, creativity, and satisfaction. To practice single tasking, choose one priority for a set period of time and remove all other temptations. Close unnecessary tabs, silence notifications, and give your full presence to the task. The more you practice, the more natural deep focus becomes. Another proven habit is to use time blocking. Instead of letting your day be hijacked by random interruptions, proactively schedule your time. Divide your day into blocks dedicated to specific tasks: creative work, meetings, email, rest. During each block, focus only on the task at hand. For example, you might dedicate the morning to deep work and the afternoon to communication. This structure trains your brain to expect focus in certain windows, creating rhythm and flow. Over time blocking reduces decision fatigue, increases productivity, and helps you align your actions with your priorities. One of the most popular tools within time blocking is the Pomodoro technique. This method breaks work into intervals, usually 25 minutes of focus followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 cycles, you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. The beauty of this method is that it balances intensity with rest. The short bursts make focus more manageable, while the breaks prevent burnout. Even if you struggle with distraction, you can often commit to just 25 minutes, and by doing so repeatedly, you build momentum and discipline. But focus is not only about what you do during work, it's also about how you design your environment. Distractions thrive in environments filled with triggers. If your phone is on your desk, buzzing with alerts, it will pull your attention no matter how disciplined you are. If social media tabs are open, they'll whisper for you to check them. Training your brain away from distraction means reshaping your environment so focus becomes the default. This might mean keeping your phone in another room while working, using website blockers to prevent access to tempting sites, or arranging your workspace so that only tools for your current task are visible. Environment design is a form of self-care. It supports your best intentions by reducing friction. Another powerful habit is mindfulness practice. Distraction is often fueled by unconscious urges, the reflex to check your phone, the habit of switching tasks when bored. Mindfulness trains you to notice these urges without acting on them. By practicing meditation, breath awareness, or mindful walking, you strengthen the part of your brain responsible for self-regulation. This gives you a gap between impulse and action, a chance to choose focus instead of falling into distraction. Mindfulness doesn't mean you'll never be distracted again. It means you'll recover faster, returning to focus with less guilt or frustration. Sleep also plays a critical role in attention. When you're sleep deprived, your brain's prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for focus and decision-making, functions poorly. You become more impulsive, more distractible, and less able to sustain concentration. Training your brain for focus therefore requires prioritizing rest. Create a consistent bedtime routine, limit screens before sleep, and ensure you get 7 to 9 hours of quality rest. Think of sleep not as wasted time, but as the foundation of mental clarity. Exercise, too, is a focus hack often overlooked. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, releases neurotransmitters that improve mood and alertness, and reduces stress, all of which enhance attention. Even a short walk during the day can reset your mind, clearing mental fog and preparing you for focus. Pairing exercise with mindfulness, like yoga or Tai Chi, amplifies these benefits, combining physical movement with mental clarity. Nutrition also matters. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ, and what you eat directly impacts your ability to focus. Diets high in sugar and processed foods cause energy crashes that fuel distraction, while diets rich in whole foods, healthy fats and protein stabilize energy and improve cognitive function. Hydration is equally important. Even mild dehydration impairs focus. Training your brain for attention is not just about habits at your desk. It's about the lifestyle choices that support your mind's optimal functioning. Another key habit is practicing attention recovery. Just as athletes need recovery days, your brain needs time away from focused effort to recharge. This is why breaks are essential. Not the kind of breaks spent scrolling endlessly, but restorative breaks that engage different parts of your brain. Walk outside, listen to music, talk with a friend, or simply rest in silence. These activities restore your attention and prevent burnout, allowing you to return to work with renewed clarity. One often underestimated factor in distraction is emotional regulation. When we feel anxious, restless, or overwhelmed, we're more likely to seek distraction as an escape. Training your brain for focus requires learning to manage these emotions in healthier ways. Techniques like journaling, therapy, or mindful breathing can help you process emotions instead of avoiding them. By building emotional resilience, you reduce the need for distraction and free up energy for focus. We should also address the importance of purpose. Focus is much easier when you care about what you're doing. When tasks feel meaningless, distraction becomes irresistible. But when tasks are tied to your values and goals, attention flows more naturally. This means one of the most powerful focus hacks isn't about apps or techniques. It's about alignment. Ask yourself, why am I doing this work? How does it connect to my larger goals? By clarifying your why, you give your brain a reason to resist distraction and lean into focus. Accountability is another effective tool. When you share your goals with others, you're more likely to stay focused. This could mean working alongside a colleague, joining a study group, or even using virtual co-working sessions where participants commit to focus together. Accountability adds social pressure that counteracts the pull of distraction. It also provides encouragement and community, reminding you that you're not alone in the struggle to reclaim focus. Perhaps one of the simplest yet most overlooked habits is practicing gratitude for focus itself. Each time you complete a deep work session, pause to appreciate the clarity and progress you experienced. Celebrate the moments when you resisted distraction and stayed present. This reinforces the behavior, training your brain to associate focus with reward. Gratitude turns focus from a chore into a privilege, something to be valued and nurtured. Finally, remember that training your brain away from distraction is not about perfection. You will get distracted. You will slip into old habits. The key is not to avoid distraction entirely, but to shorten the time you spend in it. Notice the distraction, let it go, and return to your focus. Each return strengthens the muscle of attention. Over weeks and months, these small wins compound, transforming your capacity for deep, meaningful concentration. Distraction may be the default of the digital age, but it does not have to define your life. By adopting proven habits, Single tasking, time blocking, mindfulness, sleep, exercise, environment design, and emotional resilience, you can rewire your brain. You can reclaim the focus that the modern world has stolen and use it to create, connect, and live with purpose. Focus is not a lost art, it's a skill waiting to be retrained. And when you do, you'll discover that clarity, productivity, and peace are not beyond your reach. They're right here, waiting in the silence beyond distraction. Training your brain away from distraction and toward focus is not just about short-term productivity. It's about reshaping the way you live in a world that constantly demands your attention. In part 1, we explored how distraction has been engineered into our lives and introduced proven habits like single tasking, time blocking, and mindfulness. Now in part 2, we're going to go deeper. We'll look at why focus is so fragile, how to strengthen it with daily rituals, and how to build a lifestyle that naturally supports deep work and clarity. The first thing to acknowledge is that distraction isn't going anywhere. If anything, the digital world is becoming more distracting by the day. Platforms are competing for your attention, algorithms are designed to hook you, and every update feels urgent, even when it isn't. This means focus is no longer a passive state, it's an active choice, a skill that must be practiced daily. To master it, you have to treat your focus as the most valuable asset you own, because it is. Your focus determines the quality of your work, the depth of your relationships, and the fulfillment of your life. So how do you protect this asset? One way is by developing rituals of transition. Distraction often sneaks in during the gaps, when you finish one task and before you start another, when you wake up in the morning or when you settle in at night. These transitions are vulnerable moments where your brain naturally seeks stimulation. Without awareness, you'll grab your phone, scroll, or check emails. But if you design rituals for these transitions, you create stability. For example, instead of checking your phone first thing in the morning, you could begin with a glass of water, a stretch, and a moment of reflection. Instead of scrolling before bed, you could write in a journal or read a few pages of a book. These rituals signal to your brain that you are in control, reducing the chance of sliding into distraction. Another powerful practice is to create attention anchors throughout your day. An attention anchor is a small habit or cue that brings you back to focus when you drift. For some, this might be taking 3 deep breaths each time they sit at their desk. For others, it's writing down the single most important task on a sticky note and keeping it visible. The anchor doesn't have to be big, it just needs to interrupt the autopilot of distraction and remind you to return to presence. Over time, these anchors rewire your brain to associate certain moments or environments with focus. Managing your energy is another critical piece of training your brain. Many people try to focus when their energy is already depleted, which makes distraction much harder to resist. Your brain is most capable of deep concentration during specific windows, often in the morning after waking and in the early afternoon after rest. Identify your peak energy times and schedule your most demanding tasks then. Save lighter, more routine tasks for lower energy periods. This way, you're working with your brain's natural rhythms rather than against them. Linked to energy management is the concept of ultradian rhythms. These are 90 to 120-minute cycles that govern your alertness. After about 90 minutes of focus, your brain naturally dips in energy. If you push through, you become fatigued and more prone to distraction. But if you honor this rhythm, working deeply for 90 minutes, then taking a 15 to 20-minute restorative break, you align with your biology. These breaks are not wasted time. They're essential recovery periods that prepare your brain for the next focus session. By respecting these rhythms, you maximize focus without burning out. One overlooked aspect of distraction is your environment's sensory input. Noise, clutter, and even lighting all influence your ability to focus. A noisy environment makes your brain constantly shift attention, while cluttered spaces create visual distractions. Training your brain for focus means creating an environment that supports it. This doesn't mean you need a perfectly minimalist space, but you should design your surroundings with intention. Keep your workspace tidy, reduce background noise, and adjust lighting to be comfortable. Even small changes, like adding plants or natural light, can reduce stress and increase concentration. Digital clutter is just as important as physical clutter. If your desktop is full of icons, if your phone home screen is filled with apps, or if your inbox is overflowing, your brain is being visually and mentally pulled in multiple directions. Simplify your digital environment, create folders, archive old emails, and remove unnecessary apps from your home screen. Each step reduces cognitive load and makes it easier for your brain to stay focused. But focus is not only about reducing distraction, it's also about cultivating flow. Flow is that state where time seems to disappear and you're fully immersed in what you're doing. It's the peak of focus, and it's deeply satisfying. Research shows that flow occurs when your skills are matched to the level of challenge, when a task is neither too easy nor too hard. To cultivate flow, choose tasks that matter to you, break them into manageable steps, and eliminate interruptions. Protecting long, uninterrupted periods of time is key, because flow often takes 20 to 30 minutes to enter. Once you're in it, though, it becomes self-reinforcing. The joy of flow makes distraction less appealing. One practical way to trigger flow is to combine ritual and challenge. Create a consistent pre-work ritual, like making tea, putting on instrumental music, or lighting a candle, that signals to your brain it's time to focus. Then, choose a task that stretches your skills just enough to engage you. Over time, this ritual becomes a cue for focus, making it easier to slip into flow. Training your brain away from distraction also requires redefining your relationship with technology. Right now, most people let their devices dictate their attention, but with a few intentional tweaks, you can reverse this. Use features like Do Not Disturb, app timers, or website blockers to create guardrails. Batch your communication, check email and messages at set times rather than constantly. And remember that you don't have to be available 24/7. Setting boundaries with technology is not about rejecting it, it's about using it on your terms. Emotions are another hidden driver of distraction. Often we check our phones or switch tasks not because we need to, but because we're bored, anxious, or overwhelmed. This is why emotional awareness is key to focus. The next time you feel the urge to distract yourself, pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Am I avoiding something uncomfortable? Am I tired, restless, or uncertain? By naming the emotion, you create space between the feeling and the action. You may realize that what you need isn't distraction, but rest, support, or a break. Emotional awareness transforms distraction from an unconscious habit into a conscious choice. A related practice is urge surfing, the art of noticing the impulse to distract yourself without acting on it. Imagine the urge as a wave. It rises, peaks, and eventually falls. If you resist it without judgment, it will pass. Each time you practice urge surfing, you weaken the grip of distraction and strengthen your ability to stay present. Over time, this builds resilience, giving you greater freedom over your attention. Community can also play a role in training your brain. Focus is easier when you're surrounded by others who value it. This might mean working in a library, joining a co-working space, or even connecting virtually with people who share focus goals. When you see others working deeply, it normalizes focus and reduces the temptation to distract yourself. Accountability groups, where members share goals and check in on progress, can also provide structure and support. You're more likely to resist distraction when you know someone else cares about your progress. Training your brain for focus is not about becoming rigid, it's about building flexibility. Distraction will still happen, but you'll recover faster. One helpful mindset is to treat distraction as feedback rather than failure. If you find yourself distracted, often ask why. Is the task too boring? Too overwhelming? Is your energy low? Each distraction offers data. Use it to adjust your approach, maybe by breaking tasks into smaller steps, taking more breaks, or aligning tasks with your natural energy cycles. Perhaps the most important element of focus is alignment with meaning. When your work feels connected to your deeper values, focus comes more natural. This is why it's so difficult to concentrate on meaningless busy work, but easy to lose yourself in a project you care about. Training your brain away from distraction means not only building habits, but also clarifying purpose. Ask yourself regularly, why does this task matter? How does it connect to the life I want to create? The clearer your why, the stronger your resistance to distraction. Finally, let's talk about recovery. Focus is a finite resource, and if you deplete it without replenishment, you'll burn out. Rest, play, and downtime are not indulgences, they are essentials. Allow yourself periods of true rest, not filled with screens but with restorative activities, walking, reading, spending time in nature, or connecting with loved ones. These moments recharge your brain, making it possible to return to work with fresh clarity. In sum, part 2 of this journey is about building systems that make focus the path of least resistance. Rituals of transition prevent distraction before it starts. Attention anchors bring you back when you drift. Energy management aligns your focus with your natural rhythms. Environment design reduces triggers. Emotional awareness and urge surfing build resilience. Flow transforms focus into joy, and purpose gives your focus depth and meaning. The brain is plastic. It can be rewired. Just as constant distraction trains you to be scattered, consistent focus habits train you to be centered. Over weeks and months, these practices compound, reshaping your mind to thrive in a world full of noise. The distractions won't disappear, but their power over you will. You will discover that your attention, once fragile and fragmented, has become strong and steady, a resource you can direct with confidence toward the life you truly want. Distraction may be the currency of the digital age, but focus is the true wealth. The ability to direct your attention toward what matters most is the foundation of productivity, creativity, and peace of mind. In parts 1 and 2, we explored the science of distraction and practical systems to strengthen your focus. Now in part 3, we're going deeper into the mindset, habits, and lifestyle shifts that allow you not just to fight distraction, but to master it. And as we dive in, remember to subscribe to Think Fresh Daily, like this video, and share it with someone who's looking to reclaim their attention. Together, we can build a culture of focus in a world that thrives on noise. Let's begin with a truth that is often overlooked. Distraction isn't just external. Yes, your phone, your apps, and your environment all pull at your attention, but much of distraction originates within. Your own thoughts, emotions, and impulses can scatter your focus even in a quiet room. Training your brain away from distraction, then, is not only about controlling the outside world, it's about cultivating inner discipline. This begins with self-awareness. Each time you feel the urge to check your phone or switch tasks, pause and notice. What am I feeling right now? Am I bored? Anxious? Overwhelmed? By naming the impulse, you strip it of its unconscious power. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. From awareness, the next step is intention. Distraction thrives in a vacuum of purpose. When you don't know what matters most, everything feels equally urgent. This is why clear goals are essential for focus. At the start of each day, identify your top 3 priorities, the tasks that will move your life or work forward most meaningfully. Write them down. Keep them visible. When distractions tempt you, return to your list. This clarity transforms your attention from a drifting boat into a guided ship. You're no longer reactive, you're intentional. But intention alone is not enough. You need structure. One of the most effective structures is the use of focus rituals. These are consistent actions you perform before entering deep work, signaling to your brain that it's time to concentrate. For some, this might be making coffee, putting on instrumental music, and closing the door. For others, it might be journaling for 5 minutes or lighting a candle. The ritual doesn't matter as much as the consistency. Over time, your brain begins to associate the ritual with focus, making it easier to enter the state of concentration. Another essential mindset shift is embracing the discomfort of focus. Distraction often arises because focus feels hard. When you hit a moment of difficulty, whether it's writer's block, problem solving, or boredom, your brain seeks escape. Checking your phone or browsing the web offers instant relief. But mastery comes from resisting that urge and sitting with the discomfort. This is where growth happens. Each time you push through difficulty, you strengthen your capacity for deep work. Train yourself to see discomfort not as a signal to escape, but as proof that you're engaging meaningfully. We should also talk about identity. How you see yourself shapes how you use your attention. If you identify as someone who is constantly distracted, you'll live into that story. But if you begin to see yourself as a focused person, someone who values presence and depth, you'll naturally align your actions with that identity. This is why affirmations and self-talk matter. Tell yourself, I am capable of deep focus. My attention is valuable. I choose where it goes. Over time, this identity reshapes your habits, making distraction less appealing and focus more natural. Another layer of training your brain is learning the art of recovery from distraction. No one, no matter how disciplined, avoids distraction entirely. The difference between those who master focus and those who don't is how quickly they recover. Instead of beating yourself up for checking your phone or losing track of time, simply notice and return. Each return is a rep in the gym of attention. Over time, these reps build strength. The key is compassion. See distraction not as failure, but as practice. Each slip is an opportunity to come back stronger. Community plays a bigger role than many realize. Focus is contagious. When you're surrounded by people who value depth, you're more likely to cultivate it yourself. This is why co-working sessions, accountability groups, or simply sharing goals with a friend can be so powerful. They create social reinforcement for focus. Conversely, if you're surrounded by constant noise and distraction, it's harder to resist. Choose your environment and your community wisely. They will shape your attention as much as your individual habits do. Let's also look at the role of curiosity and passion. Distraction often wins because what you're doing doesn't fully engage you. When you care deeply about a task, focus becomes almost effortless. This is why aligning your work with your strengths and interests is so important. Of course, not every task can be thrilling, but you can cultivate curiosity even in the mundane. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? How does this connect to a bigger purpose? By reframing tasks through curiosity, you make them more engaging, reducing the pull of distraction. One practical habit that reinforces this is progress tracking. The brain loves to see evidence of progress. Each time you mark a task as complete, check off a box, or visually see improvement, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the behavior. Create systems to track your focus sessions, whether it's a journal, an app, or a simple calendar. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small. This builds momentum, turning focus into a rewarding habit rather than a constant battle. Another underrated strategy is cultivating silence. The modern world is loud, digitally and physically, but silence is the soil where focus grows. Make time each day for silence. No screens, no music, no input. Sit quietly, walk in nature, or simply breathe. These moments reset your nervous system, lower stress, and restore clarity. In silence, your brain processes, integrates, and prepares for the next round of focus. Without it, you're always running on fumes. Physical health is inseparable from focus. A tired, malnourished, or stressed body cannot produce a focused mind. This means prioritizing sleep, exercise, and nutrition isn't optional. It's foundational. Sleep restores attention. Exercise increases blood flow and mental clarity. Nutrition fuels your brain with steady energy. Even hydration matters. Dehydration, even mild, reduces cognitive performance. Treat your body as the vessel of your focus, because it is. There's also a spiritual dimension to focus, whether or not you define it in religious terms. Focus requires presence, and presence is deeply human. When you are fully present in your work, your relationships, or your life, you touch something profound. You feel connected, grounded, alive. Distraction pulls you away from this presence, scattering you across 100 shallow experiences. Focus, by contrast, deepens your experience of life. It allows you to engage fully, to savor, to create, to connect. This is why focus isn't just about getting things done, it's about living fully. As we wrap up this journey, it's worth remembering that training your brain away from distraction is not about becoming a machine. It's not about eliminating every slip or working non-stop. It's about balance. Focus is powerful, but so is rest. Deep work matters, but so does play. The goal is not rigidity, but harmony. A life where you can focus deeply when it matters and rest fully when it doesn't. So where do you start? Start small. Pick one habit, maybe single tasking, maybe creating a morning ritual, maybe setting a boundary with your phone, and commit to it. Over time, layer on more habits. Build momentum. Don't chase perfection, chase progress. Each day you practice focus, you're rewiring your brain, strengthening your attention, and reclaiming your life. If this message resonates with you, don't stop here. Share it with someone who needs it. Hit the like button to spread the word, and subscribe to Think Fresh Daily for more strategies to reclaim your focus in a distracted world. Together we can shift from shallow to deep, from scattered to centered, from noise to clarity. Focus is not lost, it's waiting to be trained. And when you train it, you unlock the power to live with purpose, presence, and peace.